All right, good evening, everyone. I had a little glitch. I don't know why sometimes these lovely internet things happen, but welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am your host, Sandy Shellis. And tonight it's somber in the United States, in the Southeast, but yet we know that this has been the year of floods and fires, or should we say, the era of floods and fires. Um, Antonio Reed has been affected by the Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, where he went to school, has been flooded. Matt, the letter hack, who I do the Wednesday night show with, is in South Carolina, and millions have had no power. So I've decided to do a special show on Sunday to cover this whole situation because if this isn't a wake up call for some people in the United States, there will never be one. There will never be one. So I will say my hellos to you guys. Hello, Jean. Thank you for moderating. And Looney, thank you for moderating. And Kim, thank you for moderating. And good evening. Good evening to all of you. I do want to get started, but this is Planetary Boundaries Night after all, and there is a new report which I'm happy to cover. I'm happy to cover. It is talking about they say it's the inaugural report, but of course, since 2009, Johan Rockström has been working on planetary boundaries. And that is number one, climate change; two, change in biospheric integrity; three, land system change; four, freshwater change; five, modification of bio chemical flows; and six, ocean acidification; seven, increase in atmospheric aerosol loading; eight, stratospheric ozone depletion; and nine, induction of novel entities. And we're going to look at that tonight. We are totally going to look at that tonight. But I think the first thing, well, I know the first thing I'm going to do is play you a little video clip that I put together of Dr. Rockström from Germany, from Potsdam Institute. I have a lot of respect for them over there, and I'm going to introduce you to someone else you may have met on a little video clip I have. But first, we're going to play Johan and just get a little feeling for what we're in for tonight.
We're not only burning fossil fuels at a pace that is pushing ourselves outside of the corridor of life in terms of temperature over the past 5 million years. Can you imagine, within just 150 years, we're winding potentially back the climate clock to a temperature on Earth more than 5 million years back in time, which is way beyond any configuration of the planet that can support human life. What we're seeing right now is actually nothing less than shocking from a scientific perspective. Safety on climate may be at the level of 1.5 degrees Celsius of global mean surface temperature rise. Basically, that is what the biophysical Earth system can cope with. Beyond that point, we're likely to cross tipping points of irreversible changes. For example, irreversibly melting the Greenland ice sheet, or irreversibly melting the West Antarctic ice sheet, or irreversibly causing an increased or faster rate of abrupt thawing of permafrost in Siberia. All of these factors self-amplifying warming. That's safety. Safety to keep the planet in a manageable state. Go beyond that, and we see millions of people's livelihoods, health for millions of people being undermined, threatened by heat, disease, water scarcity, flooding, storms, all the extreme events amplified by climate change. We can no longer solve problems through incremental and linear change. Everything now boils down to scale and speed. Scale meaning we have to universally find pathways towards sustainable, healthy futures universally for all countries and citizens and societies across the world, but also speed. It cannot be linear, it has to be exponential. We have only 30 years to decarbonize the global economy and phase out fossil fuels. Planetary health really is about integrating human health with planetary sustainability, and that respecting scientifically defined planetary boundaries and governing these is fundamental for the stability, for the health, for the security, prosperity, and equity for all humans, all species, today and tomorrow on planet Earth.
Okay, so that is Dr. Rockström, and we are going to talk about the newest endeavor. And I know a lot of you feel that, oh, it's just more and nothing's going to happen. But, you know, let's take a look. Let's see what they're discussing here. There are a lot of very interesting scientists involved. And I know that it does feel sometimes very, very sad, very tough, um, to handle all of this that we're seeing, to all of it all over the world. And to know that instead of putting all the money that countries' budgets have in military expenditures, we should be in a we're in a climate global emergency, and it's not just climate, it's an overshoot emergency. It is an ecological environmental emergency. We have lost populations of insects. We are headed down the wrong road for sure. We've talked about it. But with the let's start with the reports. All right. So, planetary health check, and the past. I'm going to start with an Earth article. I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing, but it gives you the background. And of course, I know, like always, we've done shows on this before. This is from April in 2024, towards a new global approach to safeguard planet Earth, if it's possible. An interview with Johan. I mean, his science is good, If anything, he is understanding, but he doesn't lose the story. So I'm just going to go back here a little bit. For more than a century, scientists have monitored climate trends and provided governments, businesses, stakeholders with the understanding necessary to shape modern human lifestyles in a way that benefits both economic development and well-being. During the 70s, scientific understanding of Earth systems increased tremendously. And in the decade that followed, evidence of climate change it was spreading. So since the establishment of the IPCC in 88, the scientific community began looking at the planet with different eyes. as a complex, self-regulating biogeophysical system characterized by interconnected spheres: the lithosphere, which is the land; the hydrosphere, which is the water; the biosphere, which is living things, us, sentient beings; and the atmosphere, which is air. At the same time, scientists began developing an understanding of tipping points, multiple stable states of an Earth system that, if pushed too far, could result in unstoppable, permanent, and irreversible changes in the state of that system, which, you know, we all feel like we are there, really. But for instance, continuous external pressure on a system like the Amazon rainforest, the world's largest and richest biological reservoir and one of the most important natural carbon storage systems, can turn the forest into a savanna and a source of carbon dioxide, which we are seeing. We're seeing, we're reading the stories. And by the way, you like my little coffee cup? It's election time. I completely feel like this. So a turning point in science came in 2001 when they formed the third assessment report, the popular hockey stick graph, an illusion of the changes in global temperatures of the past millennium that revealed an unprecedented sharp upward trajectory towards the end of the 1900s and into the new century, the blade of the hockey stick. While the graph does not specifically attribute this increase to fossil fuel emissions, it aligns with the broader scientific consensus that human activities, including the burning of fossil fuels, have been a primary driver of the observed global warming trend. So this is it's repeating for you guys. It's a repetitious article, but there's people that not it may not be repetitious for, and that's why I chose this one. So we were looking at the instrument. This is the northern hemisphere and the anomalies. This one's not important, but that was the hockey stick. That was just the shape of it. We've all heard of that. So I'm going to move down a little bit. All the evidence gathered in the course of 4 decades left scientists with 2 key questions. What are the biophysical processes that regulate the state and health of the planet? And once identified, could we quantify the safe boundaries that give us a good chance to keep the planet in a livable state? But beyond which we risk causing a drift away from that state. Yeah. Answering these questions was the next inevitable step in climate research at that point, and Johan Rockström is the guy. So we're not going to go through all of this, but I'm going to go show you 2009. In 2009, these were the graphics, and we had 7 boundaries assessed and 3 crossed. And 2015, 7 boundaries assessed and 4 crossed. 2023, 9 boundaries assessed and 6 crossed. Doesn't give you a really warm and fuzzy feeling, does it? But now we're going to move on because the article goes through all of the things that we've talked about before. And, of course, the shocking trends and all that. Daily sea surface temperature. If you're on Twitter or you follow us, you've met Elliot Jacobson, who tracks all of these things for us, and we show Zach Laib's graphs. I mean, there's a plethora of people who are doing wonderful science for us to peruse and learn. All right, so we're going to move on, and here it is. This is the report. Planetary Health Check 2024, Scientific Assessment of the State of the Planet. And this is the executive summary. So we're going to go over it. I think it's really important to do this because while there are, I'd say, at least 50 articles in 50 different publications that I came through, I think the best thing is for us to just look at it. Okay, this is the PDF, and there's also a website. And for now, I really like the PDF, so I think we're going to look at the PDF. And we're also going to meet she's the main author here, Levki Cesar. We're going to meet her on a video in a little while also, because sometimes in science the stars like Johan Rockström, uh, they take center stage, but all of these people are doing the work with him, and she's actually pretty cool. She finished her PhD in climate physics at Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research in Germany. Her research topic was the evolution of the Atlantic overturning circulation and its impact on the Earth system. Part of her findings that showed that this major ocean circulation system has slowed down by about 15% since the mid 20th century. They were published in Nature in 2018. She's young. Prior to her PhD, she studied climate physics at the University of Potsdam and the Helmholtz Center for Ocean Research in Kiel. So she's quite something. And I've seen a couple of interviews, and I would really like to write to her and have her on with us when we do our AMOC show. So, the Planetary Boundary Science is the international scientific partnership established at the end of 2023 to provide annual planetary health checks while steadily advancing the underlying science and ensuring contemporary and efficient science communication, which I thought was supposed to be underway. I mean, since, we have all the COPs and what are we going on, COP 29? But this may be different, and we'll see. PBS Science will improve planetary boundaries assessments by applying cutting edge data analysis techniques, utilizing the latest available data sets, enhancing Earth system modeling, and using modern comprehensive communication tools to convey its messages to a broad audience, which, okay, us. Let's familiarize ourselves with the report. It's called Reach One, Teach One. Yes, I did a show on why nobody wants to talk doom and gloom, but we can maybe take some of the things from this, and it doesn't have to be so doomy and gloomy depending on our audience, the conversation you're having with someone, and the interest in planet tipping points could just be like, hey, did you know we hit a tipping point? And gee, Helene, pretty bad. Well, we can all do that. Try to educate someone in our conversations. I know it's hard. I do. So the executive summary, as in every report, it's the inaugural annual report, represents a crucial step in monitoring and safeguarding Earth's stability, resilience, and life support functions. They call it planetary health. So they have a partnership, and they are going to analyze and monitor the 9 planetary boundary processes and systems that scientifically are proven to regulate the health of the planet. Regulate the health of the planet. Each of the processes, such as climate change or ocean acidification, is currently quantified by 1 to 2 different control variables. The 2024 Planetary Health Check report reveals that 6 out of 9 of the processes have been breached. They've been breached. So this is where we are. So this is the planetary health at a glance. They've tried to make this figure easy. Let me know in the chat if you could see it, because I also have it. Might be bigger in this one. I don't know which is cleaner, this one or this one. I'll wait, but I'll start because it is just as blood pressure test provides insights into the human body's health and identifies areas of concern, and I like the way they phrase that. This planetary health check evaluates the 13 control variables across the 9 planetary boundary processes to report on Earth's stability, resilience, and life support functions, the overall health of the planet. The 2024 assessment shows that 6 of the 9 planetary boundaries have been transgressed: climate change, biosphere integrity, land, system change, freshwater change, geochemical flows, and the introduction of novel entities, like plastic. in our brain, the little bits that our brain is made up of now of plastic. All of these show increasing trends, suggesting further transgression in the near future. Three planetary boundary processes remain within the safe operating space: ocean acidification, which won't be there long, increasing trend, and close. Atmospheric aerosol loading, decreasing global trend, and stratospheric ozone depletion, no trend. So on the top color bar, a classic box plot summarizes the distribution of all 13 control variables at once. And they made it dynamic, and they made it so you wouldn't forget it. Now that's their logo. All right. So in here, so did you think this one was fine to look at? Okay. Planetary health at a glance. So this is where it was the safe operating space, increasing risk, and high risk zone. That's what they show: 25%, 50, 75, and maximum value. It's not hard to identify. These are the boundaries. And as you can see, the boundaries have changed in all of these. But you'll go back because this will be in the show notes. And I'm sure every one of you is going to want to have this on your computer as a reference document, right? Download the PDF. So here they are: the climate change. And I'm going to read all these. I may not read the entire thing. It's not that long, but this is really a good thing to have. Climate change. So the atmospheric CO2 levels are at the 15 million year high, and global radiative forcing continues to rise with a persistent warming trend that has accelerated since the late 20th century. Global mean temperatures are now higher than at any point since human civilizations changed on Earth or emerged on Earth. Change in the biosphere integrity. The global loss of genetic diversity and the loss of functional integrity measured as energy available to ecosystems are both exceeding safe levels and accelerating, particularly in regions experiencing intensive land use. Wonder where that is. The vast decrease in biosphere integrity raises concerns that Earth's biosphere is losing resilience, adaptability, and its capacity to mitigate various pressures, including those from transgressing other planetary boundaries. Land system change. As a result of the land use and increasingly due to climate change, global and regional forests have been steadily declining over the last few decades across all major forest biomes. Most regions are already in the high risk zone, well beyond their safe boundaries, while some areas have only recently breached safe levels, example, temperate and tropical America. Freshwater change. Local steam flow and soil moisture deviations have significantly increased since the late 19th century, surpassing their respective planetary boundaries in the earliest 20th century. The increasing variability and instability in global freshwater and terrestrial water systems signal growing concerns for water resource management and environmental stability. Then there's the modification of the biogeochemical flows. The use of phosphorus, nitrogen in agriculture has exceeded safe boundary levels, driving some significant ecological change. Breaching this boundary has led to severe environmental impacts such as water pollution, eutrophication, harmful algal blooms, and dead zones in freshwater and marine ecosystems. This issue has been prevalent in industrialized countries for a long time and is increasingly becoming a concern in developing regions as well. Introduce in the introduction of novel entities. The global introduction of novel entities such as synthetic chemicals, plastics, and genetically modified organisms is vast. Yet a significant portion of these substances remains untested for their environmental impacts. This includes that the boundary is likely exceeded, although exact figures are uncertain. Novel entities can disrupt critical Earth system processes, like CFCs, notably damage the ozone layer, harm ecosystems, Pesticides have caused significant declines in insect and pollinator populations and lead to long-term, possibly irreversible changes in the environment, including the contamination of soil and water bodies and the alteration of natural habitats. This is a document I think everybody should have, actually. This is a document that a lot of people could relate to, even maybe the most virulent climate change deniers, because it's talking about all the boundaries. And how can you deny that we are putting crap in the environment? You can't. I don't even know if the most clueless moron could. And of course, ocean acidification. It's close. The three processes that remain within safe operating are ocean acidification, which is approaching the critical threshold with significant declines in surface aragonite saturation, particularly in high latitude regions like the Arctic and the Southern Ocean. These areas are vital for marine carbon pump and global nutrient cycles, which support marine productivity, biodiversity, and global fisheries. The growing acidification poses an increased threat to marine ecosystems, especially those reliant on calcium carbonate for shell formation. And if you're in Florida, all you have to do is talk to somebody about the manatees and why do they see manatees dying, especially if they're riding around with their MAGA hat on, hitting manatees with their boats. Atmospheric aerosol loading. The difference in aerosol optical depth between hemispheres is decreasing, indicating progress towards safer levels, though some regional patterns show opposing trends. Aerosols influence the Earth's energy balance by reflecting sunlight back into space and altering cloud formation. This impacts global and regional climate systems, including temperature regulation, precipitation patterns, and the distribution of solar energy. Managing aerosol levels is crucial for maintaining the stability of the Earth's climate system and preventing shifts that could disrupt weather patterns and ecosystems, which obviously we're seeing. Stratospheric ozone depletion. Ozone recovery has plateaued, with mixed trends and ongoing challenges in addressing the Antarctic ozone hole. The stratospheric ozone layer plays a vital role in shielding the Earth from excessive ultraviolet radiation. This protection is essential for maintaining the integrity of the Earth's biochemical systems, as UV radiation can harm phytoplankton, disrupt marine ecosystems, and alter terrestrial plant growth, elements that are foundational to the global food web and carbon cycle. Stabilizing and restoring the ozone layer is critical for preserving these interconnected Earth systems. Now, every single one of these are being done by so many people all over the world. People are working on these, scientists, people that are into permaculture. There's so many. It is quite wonderful, and we've brought people on. But this is like a checklist of what's happening, and is there a possibility to do something with this? So it is a new era. Humanity has thrived for over 10,000 years with a period of climatic stability and resilient Earth system, which has allowed the development of advanced technologies and cultures. However, as the 2024 PHC report shows, we are now entering the planetary health, a dangerous new era marked by increasing systems of planetary boundary transgressions, such as more frequent extreme weather events, wildfires, reduced plant productivity, and water scarcity. These challenges are compounded by a still growing global population. And must navigate unprecedented difficulties. Beyond these immediate concerns, a more profound threat lies in the gradual weakening of Earth system resilience as we approach and potentially cross critical tipping points. These slow changes may not result in abrupt shifts, but could lead to irreversible trends, such as accelerated sea level rise and self-reinforcing pathways that move us further from the stable Holocene-like conditions crucial for human life. And as I've said, the non-scientists citizen scientist me were already in the Anthropocene. So the interconnectedness of the planetary boundaries process means that addressing one issue, such as limiting global warming to 1.5, requires tackling all of them collectively. This holistic approach, though daunting, offers the potential to transform what seems like a burden into an opportunity for sustainable progress. Reversing the multiple drivers currently pushing systems toward tipping points can yield synergistic effects of conservation and resilience. Immediate and coordinated global action involving governments, businesses, and civil society is essential to return to safe operating space across the planetary boundaries and secure a prosperous future. Okay, this is where I must stop. That's the hopium part of every scientific report. Because if scientists do want to see any work in any of these areas, regardless of the big picture, regardless of the fact that we are on a trajectory that is not pretty, there are so many things yet to be done without thinking of the end result. Thinking of the end result of what you're doing, bringing back pollinators, regrowing, degrowth, working towards a degrowth economy, running for office if you're young, trying to make a change in the political systems that could usher in some of the things that need to be done. So they talk about the path forward. They will establish a broader planetary boundary initiative in collaboration with a growing network of partners. PBI aims to provide decision support to guide global development back. They think they can do safe operating space by using this framework. I think this is a last ditch effort. I really do. To achieve this, this will play a central role, beginning with annual reports that update on the planetary boundary science and human progress towards reaching safe boundary levels. I don't want to be so negative, but I don't know about reaching safe boundary levels. I kind of think we're going to be chronicling our collapse. But again, these people are going to do a lot to try. The approach includes introducing new control variables that focus on human systems interfaces, advancing Earth system situation models with AI-powered analysis, and developing a near real-time dashboard with data to guide investments and paths to safety. The PBI also emphasizes the importance of public awareness and scientific understanding, which is, I think, where we come in, with a communications team working to make these insights widely accessible. Okay, so that is where we come in, communicating, talking about these different things. And this is their website right here. Earth exceeds safe limits. It's very hard to reconcile, isn't it, when you hear the Earth exceeds safe limits, first planetary health check issues red alert. And we've been doing COPs for 29 years, and the World Economic Forum and the World Wildlife Forum and all these different organizations have been working together, and we are worse than ever. It's not hopium, though, to want to do projects that at least are for diversity of the planet, of the ecosystems. It's never a negative to do it, even if it's on your own little place. So this is their website, and this will be in the show notes. I do want to bring up a video of the gal I was talking about, and let me set it up. Now, it's a long one, so I'm not going to show the whole thing. I can't.
I wanted to start with,
because it's too long. But I'm going to go up to 7 minutes, just so you get an idea who she is, because she's a mover and a shaker. So hang on.
and it sounds like that's what the most recent studies are saying. Not exactly. So basically, what we know is that the warming effect by the Gulf Stream system is largest on Europe, but actually it affects the whole Northern Hemisphere. So there are studies that show that the AMOC is one of the reasons why the Northern Hemisphere is actually on average warmer than the Southern Hemisphere. Simply added, we have our globe, and we have basically the sun warming our globe. And on average, the sun will warm the equatorial region the most and the polar regions the least. And so we have a temperature difference. And basically both the circulation system in the atmosphere and in the ocean will work towards decreasing this temperature difference, which is caused by the sun. So basically, when you, for example, look at the atmosphere, you will always have heat transport from the equator towards the poles by the atmosphere on average. And the Gulf Stream system, the AMOC, is special because it doesn't just transport heat from the equatorial region towards the North Pole, but it can actually transport heat from the Southern Ocean, from the Southern Hemisphere towards the Northern Hemisphere. So when the AMOC stops or would stop, then we expect cooling over the whole of the Northern Hemisphere, which is just most pronounced in the European region, but it will also affect the United States in the sense that we expect, if we really have a collapse of the Gulf Stream system, we would also see some cooling in the United States.
Would it cause warming in the Southern Hemisphere?
Yes.
All right, so it's going to affect everything all over the world.
Yes.
Paris Agreement was put together with some hopes of keeping the average temperature increase of the Earth below a 2% centigrade increase. We're not there yet, but you're already seeing, from what I can tell, a weakening of the AMOS. I think a lot of people thought as long as we win on the 2% goal, a 2-degree goal, that things are going to be okay. And this summer, we're finding out that things aren't okay, and we're not there yet. And this is one of the issues that I think is now, getting a little more attention. So how touchy is it, or how fragile is it in terms of temperature increases?
That's a really good question. And it's actually a frustrating question, I'd say, for us scientists, because I would say we're not really closer to answering those questions than we were like 20 years ago. So, well, you're right. And I'd say that's still the main belief, or I guess most scientists would still say that as long as we stay 2 degrees below 2 degrees of global warming, the AMOC is fairly or pretty safe in terms of not shutting down completely. We'll definitely see a weakening. So basically, if we have any time of global or any amount of global warming, this will lead to a weakening of the overturning circulation. And so for us, the important question is, okay, how much weakening is so much that the overturning circulation will, what we call tip, which basically means that just a little bit more of global warming could lead to the shutdown of the overturning circulation. And where this temperature threshold is, we don't know. And yeah, I can only say we don't know. There are some estimates saying it might be between 3.5 and 6-7 degrees of global warming, but that's really just estimates. And there's a whole lot of problems why we cannot really determine it. So basically, what we understand fairly well is the mechanism. Why does global warming lead to a weakening and potentially a shutdown of the overturning circulation? And this is related to this driver of the overturning circulation, that is the deep water formation in the subpolar North Atlantic. So there's places in the subpolar North Atlantic where the surface water masses sink to depth, and then we have the return flow. And this sinking process is basically, well, the way it works is that when the surface water cool down, they become denser and therefore heavier than the waters below and can sink. And density in the ocean water is determined by 2 facts, that is the temperature and the salinity. And
isn't that what Jim Massa always says? The salinity, the temperature. Wouldn't she be wonderful with him? she is she's the primary author with Johan Rockström, so she's quite brilliant, and she knows her AMOC. Definitely knows her AMOC. So that's the planetary boundaries, and I thought it was important, and I really do think it's something that everybody should have as their, pocket planetary boundaries, and use those to develop some kind of narrative. It really got me thinking the other night when I did that piece about nobody wants to talk about it. But there's ways. I think we can turn it around and have conversations that maybe don't scare people, but do slip in things that may cause them, instead of being an idiot, maybe. Is that hopium on my part? No, it's the educator in me. Yes, it's absolutely. So let's see what you guys are saying. I didn't have a lot, but I really thought you'd enjoy her. There are 2 good interviews with her that I will put in the link note in the show notes. Nate Hagens did one, and I forgot the other guys. Anyway, I'll put them in the show notes because they did them already, but I would really like to invite her. But you know how terrible I am at following up with getting my guests. Although Paul Beckwith is coming on with me, I'm trying to get him for next Friday night. Paul lost Shackleton, and I listened to that today and I started crying. I love Shackleton, and that's why I have 3 black cats. I loved that cat. And years ago, Paul and I actually did a whole show on cats. He came and did it with me. I wanted to do it. I asked somebody, and he came with me. So, yeah. All right. Anyway, let's see what you guys are saying about this whole thing. Yeah, she is. You're going to like her. Watch the other interviews that I put in the show notes. I think you will. Yeah, you're right. Well, that's what was one of the things they said. Population. Something has to change, and it can't be having people think it's a depopulation agenda. But yet, because of all the toxins, male sperm count is actually going down, and because they're cold, they're hot. They descended from the body to cool off, and now it's getting so hot out. Guys are just sweating their little testicles up, and the little sperms are just not going where they're supposed to go, or they're just not doing as well as they should. So hi Steph, hello. What you can do, Jake? Yes. All right. So, let me look. Anybody have anything? Any questions? I mean, really, I just wanted to go over that tonight. Yeah. I love you guys. How can I not laugh at that one? Oh my God. Yes, we would all do well by spending plenty of time in conversation with people who see things very differently than we do. Collapse echo chamber is a lot like QAnon, a lot like MAGA. Humility helps, which is what I've been trying to do. I have been out doing little volunteer things and talking to people who I'm actually surprised that the people I'm having discussions with seem to really know the bigger picture. They can't come out and say it, but I was talking to an older gal today, and she said she's a spiritual person. She's in a spiritual group, which I would imagine is not a strict religious group, but it's a spiritual group. And she said the person that leads right now, that the head, was having a conversation with them about the environment, the climate, about our predicament, and told them in their spiritual group that it's over, basically, that there is no coming back from this. And she said she felt that way. She knew it, but he told her, but it's never too late to keep trying and working to make life better for all sentient beings, not just humans, but all beings including insects, all beings. And take that as you may, it just seems to me that there are more people that are getting that understanding than we may think when we look at social media and we see all of the deniers on there and all the garbage that's on there, which are half are bots anyway. So, you know, so it's always worth it to have it when you do go out with people, and even your own family if they're open to some of the things. Maybe you won't be surrounded by idiots. Maybe if you can take one little point, one little point. Exactly. Exactly. How can we stop trying to make the world a wee bit better? We can't. All right. You beg to differ that the collapse echo chamber is a lot like MAGA and Q. I see virtually no, there is though, but it's only in it that we're in an echo chamber. Sometimes we can't get out of our echo chambers. Although QAnon and all that, they're out of their echo chambers because they're all over the social media where the doomosphere is what, 0.0000001%. You know, and I don't even know if it's the doomosphere. There's there's a lot of us that talk about science, and but they never get even the channels that do get more, of course, more views than we do. Nobody really, we're a very small channel. A very important video will get 12,000 views. Nobody really gives a shit, Yeah, well, anyway. But it's an interesting conversation, and it's really just arguing semantics. When you talk about echo chambers, it's just semantics. We can get out of an echo chamber by talking. Are you kidding? Wait a minute. The house in down in Florida is done again, the second time? Holy shit. Well, we're gonna do the show. I'm probably gonna do a show on Sunday. I am so busy here trying to clean up. I just started feeling better from the other day, where I was not. I haven't been good, and I've got so much work to do to clean up outside. So much, but anyway, it's not. Let's see, Gary. We need to let go of the outcomes, right, 10, 1,500 years from now. If we make beloved, inclusive community with all beings, then we conjure a new set of possibilities. Life is magic, a miracle, love. Gary, I do love you because you always make me feel better. Yes, you do. And hi, Wanda. It's so important to make the place you are better. Our problem with those who just want luxury and nonsense, that's a problem. Fast fashion, which is now becoming a pretty big topic, and I thought maybe I should do the fast fashion topic. I mean, I wear the same fast fashion that I've had for 20 and 30 years, that every time I lose weight, I have a box downstairs I can get and bring upstairs. Oh my God. All right, so we are 48 minutes. Not bad at keeping it a little, a little slow. I mean, a little faster than. Oh, thank you. Aw, thank you, sweetie. I don't know if you're going to be going for a deployment, a Red Cross deployment. We have a volunteer in the audience, Wolf Heinel, who was very nice for enough to put a pin where my mother lives in Sarasota. While she's safe, I know Sarasota did get flooded, but not nearly as you went up. And Jean. Oh, wait, where's your comment? I have to find that comment, Jean. A doomer fashion show. Let's wear our best hand-me-downs or basement box clothes, as I call them. I found this one today. It's missing a button, but who cares, right? Who cares? Doomer fashion show. Yeah. All right. We'll do something like that. So does anybody have anything that they really want to talk about? Because I have one more video that I want to play for you. and I'm going to set it up. Well, it's a little serious, and I guess it'll lead into our Sunday show. I'm not sure what time we're going to do the show yet. I really want Antonio with me if it's possible, but I know they're having, if Matt, the letter hack, is in South Carolina, he has no power. And Jake, I see you in the audience. I really want Matt to come on and talk about the experience in South Carolina. Antonio talk about the experience in North Carolina. And I don't know if we can tie it all up with Nicholas yet, because Nicholas is quite busy. Nicholas Humphrey, our meteorologist, PhD student, almost ready to be a disaster management person and, professional. So anyway, that's why I'm not going to do much on it tonight. And all of you are probably looking and seeing all the stuff on social media. But when I do my show on Sunday, I will put it together with the spin that only I can put together with. Okay, do I sound like Donald Trump now? Only I can do this. Only I can do it. All right, let's move it. Here we go.
Hurricane Helene is set to make landfall tonight in Florida and the Tampa area. And guys, it's not looking good. 105-mile-per-hour winds. And look at the name of the hurricane, Helene. Coincidentally, that's my ex-wife's name. Our divorce was finalized this week. And if this thing is anything like her, it's going to take your car. It's going to take your house. It's going to ruin your damn life. All right, probably both the neighbors too, but I digress. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry to put my air out on the air, but it's been a rough week. And guess what? If you're in this area, right here, the Tampa area, you're going to have a rough week as well. Okay, and by the way, another coincidence, her mom and dad, Helene's mom and dad are from Tampa. So, hey, John, Marge, you're going to feel it too. You're going to feel the wrath of Helene like I have for the past 4 years. It's going to be aggressive. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, this thing is going to catch some of the illegals that the Biden-Harris administration let in and fling these Mexicans back into Mexico, right? You want to talk about deportation? That'd be the best way to do it. And look at this. Guys, this is not good, all right? Tampa, why the hell are you living in Tampa anyway? Let's be honest. Who wakes up and goes, honey, let's move to Tampa? Helene's mom and dad, that's who. And it's coming, guys. So this thing's going to be aggressive. By the way, I've never even seen purple before. Have we ever seen purple on the show? This is not good. And what the hell is that? This can't be good. You know what that looks like? That right there? That looks like Satan's butthole. And there he is. And if you live there, you're going to feel the wrath, just like how I felt the wrath of Helene. So Robert, Mark, thank you guys so much for raising a daughter that ruined my life. If you're in Tampa, get the hell out. I'm done.
All right, so that's going to get us started for Sunday. I mean, we have to laugh. You have to laugh. There are a lot of people in serious trouble all over the world. But if you don't get a little humor every now and then, what do you got, right? Okay, then I've got one more for you before we end. I'm going to say goodnight. And I do have one more, but I'm not ready to play it. I want to see what you guys are talking about, and we'll end up going out. You like that? You like that one, Jake? Yeah. He needs therapy. Yeah, you're right. Well, it was good. I know. I'll put the link up to his stuff too. I just thought you'd get a kick out of that because, I mean, really, seriously, everything is so serious. So serious. Damn, Helene. Yeah. Kimberly, Tammy, Lauren, Gargile. Shit. I don't know if she's going to make an appearance, but Halloween is coming up and I am planning something special. So, of course, I don't know if I want her to come back. She kind of annoys me. She's boring. We're going to find someone else. Okay. So, now for the really cute part of the show. All right. I just had to do it. Had to do it because everything is so goddamn serious. I mean, everything is so damn serious, and it is. You just feel like you turn on the news and, well, the election in the United States which is just a disaster, and we have that disastrous orange person, and we have floods, and I mean, Europe just came off their flooding, and now the United States. I mean, it's just overwhelming. That's why I wanted to bring a few smiles to you tonight. So thank you, everybody. Tommyist and Jean and Sarah Torstein. It's really great, Karen. Now, of course, I've got I've got 70 people watching, and I'm finished. Go back and watch the beginning about the planetary boundaries, because seriously, I think it's a great document. And even if they do have their hopium at the end, I don't want to call it that, because it is more like just be proactive and make things happen regardless of what you think the big picture is. You don't know, because nobody really does know. But it's the harm reduction. Harm reduction. That's what you have to think. Harm reduction. So any of the ways that we want to do things have to bring the least amount of harm. Just go back and listen to my interview with Lyle Lewis, and he talks about what great harms are happening. But we could think about it, and that'll be my ending word for the night, is harm reduction. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you, everybody, for everything you do. Memberships, buy me a coffee. It's great. I just I love you, and I thank you. Yes, Tommyist, I have to put that up. Wait, before we go, I will put that up. He said, and he's right, this is the biggest thing. It is focus in your reducing harm in your local area, and that's what I do here. And anybody that's come here knows I've rewilded it, because and the flowers are still out. And yeah, I know that. That's what I'm finding. That's what I was saying earlier. People I would never think that are saying it, but it's not meaning they're giving up on the things that need to be done. Yeah, I did. It was good. It was good. Yeah, I was thinking about writing to him and see if he wants to come on my show. All right, well, we're just about an hour. Hi, Mark. Everybody know when I was out in Oregon, Mark Roche came to the party, my brother's birthday party. It was great to hang out with him. I didn't talk about the trip much because it took me a week to get over how much it hurt to fly. I hate flying. And one more thing I will tell you that I noticed, the atmosphere is changing. And on both flights to Oregon, from the middle of the country up to Portland, the planes experienced quite a bit of turbulence, and the pilot comes out and calls it rough air instead of turbulence. And I knew what they were. And now these planes, and I was going to put together a little video on it. Now these planes, you can see on the seat in front of you, you can see the control. So you can click to see the control. You can see the pitch, the roll, the altitude. You can see it in meters. You can see it imperial. You can see it in all different ways. And because I have been an aviation buff, which I never talk about much, I know what all this is. I know what the pitch is, and I know what a roll is. I know what the degrees have to be. I know a lot about aviation. So it's just not anything I talk about here because it has to stop. But anyway, I just thought I'd stick that one in. That Mark and Jeffrey Pearson and Marcia Stewart, also followers of Environmental Coffee House, which was terrific. So anyway, all right, the meat and potatoes are over. Well, they were over like a half an hour ago. And it's great to see you all. I'm going to set up. I'm using the intro for the outro because I liked it. And I took the footage, and it was summer thunder and lightning storms. So good night, everyone. And we'll see you Sunday. I'm going to hope we can work this out. Good night. I don't either.